everyone. Welcome to the Cuppa chat here at the Panto Archive. And we have got another special guest for you today. Star guest, introduce yourself.
I will. My name is KEV JOHNS, and I'm here in sunny Swansea, enjoying the beautiful Welsh sunshine.
Oh, Kev, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure, mate. It's a pleasure. It's a great genre of theatre, and the more we talk about it, the more people get to know about it, then the more seats, well, more bums on seats.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? Especially with everything that's going on at the minute in the world, in life, we just need some fun, don't we? Sometimes that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I try to do that in everything I do, you know, even when we're doing fundraising events, and it's a serious cause, you know, or a tragic cause. I say to the audience at the beginning, I said, look, fundraising should be fun, and even if the circumstances are tragic, the more fun we have, then the more money we make, which is why we're there in the first place. So you're right. Yeah, we do need more fun, and it's a fun time at the moment.
Yeah. Now, I have to admit that looking back, I've been a bit nosy on you, like I do with all our Panto guests. I haven't found anything gossipy, I have to admit, but I have found your fantastic career that you've done in Panto alone.
Yeah.
You know, is it 23 years now? You said to me earlier.
Yeah.
Dame now.
Well, my first Panto, I was young enough to play, I think it Wishy Washy. And then I did Buttons and Simple Simon and The Good Robber. I had 4 wonderful years at the Grand Pavilion in Porthcawl, where I also had, I think, 6 or 7 summer seasons. But then I came to the Grand, and I played the Emperor of China one year. And wonderful Paul Elliott, it was the producer's visit, knocked on the door. He was going around with lovely Nick Thomas, and Paul just knocked on the door, and all he said was, "Day next year," and off he went. Didn't say anything else. And apart from 1 year where there was no Dame, so I played Mr. Smee. Then it's been Dame ever since.
And you know, some people, we have a lot of people that are watching who have never done Panto before. Some people who obviously have done amateur Panto, some people have done professional Pantos watch secretly. And I will say this because I'm a Dame myself. You want to be the Dame, don't you? You want to be the Dame in the pantomime.
Yeah, I love it. You know, I've come on dressed in as flower pots, as bumblebees, as kettles, as dressing tables. And last year, in Beauty and the Beast, all the costumes were made especially for me. So it was a complete new year, new costumes, and it was wonderful, you know, and to know that these had never been worn before. Although I remember one year looking at a label inside a costume I had for Cinderella, and inside the label was written Les Dawson, and that was rather special, really. That meant a lot.
Yeah, so, I mean, amazing. And that just split second, as you say, when you're trying on the costume and you see history really in front of your eyes. You know,
oh my goodness! You look at posters and you see other dames, sometimes not as well known, but sometimes really well known performers, and I think, I wore that 2 years ago. Hang on a second, that's my body. What's his head doing on my body? And that does happen. It's happened. It's life, isn't it?
Is it, again, a lot of people ask me about this, is it always a little bit of a nervous time? You were saying about photo shoots, and sometimes we know they put your head on someone else's body, but when you do get the chance to meet the cast and do the photo shoot, do you find it exciting? Do you find it a bit nervous? I think, oh, I don't know if it's gonna be as good as last year. What are your first impressions? Because that is the first time you meet everyone, obviously, sometimes.
Yeah, we had a great photo shoot this year. Not everybody was there, but it was in Swindon. I'd never visited the theatre in Swindon before, and they tried to, I mean, all the cutest ones used to be in London. Imagine last year we were in London. It's just happened this year that they did it in Swindon. But Matt Edwards, who's an old friend, I think this will be our 5th time we've worked together in Panto. Matt was there, and some of the cast from Swindon were there. So Paul Berlin, Paul and I have worked together, and we were, funnily enough, we were in the same photo shoot last year. So it's nice to catch up with old friends, and some of the Imagine team. I love them to bits, and particularly Laura, who I've known for many, many years from previous jobs that she's worked on. So it's lovely to catch up with people, and I prefer them in London because you get a chance to go up, and sometimes my wife and I will just think, well, bite the bullet, we'll stay the night before or the night after, just to have a bit of time in town, you know. But I do enjoy those, and the amazing thing is that this year it started in March, so we finished in January. February, we were talking, and agents were talking, and bits of paper were flying through via email. And then in March, we were doing the press, the press shoot, or the photo shoot. And where are we now? June. We're talking Panto in June. I know I'm up in the wardrobe department next month trying on costumes. So before the summer holidays really kick in, other than the script, which we've already had discussions on, everything's done and dusted.
Yeah, it is scary, isn't it? It becomes longer and longer each year, which actually, if you're a Panto lover, it's a good thing, obviously. Now, I must apologise because I haven't even offered you, it's the Cuppa chat, and I haven't even offered you talk about a drink yet. I brought my cup along, which is a Doctor Who mug today because of your Welsh connections. I had to, sorry.
I like it.
I've got a bit of Matt Smith today. If anyone watches the Cuppa chat, you know I always have blackcurrant. But if I'm offering you to make the drinks, what am I making for you, Kev?
Oh, I love a Pepsi Max or a peppermint tea.
Oh, especially during Panto, a peppermint tea.
Oh, peppermint tea goes, although my friend introduced me some years ago to raspberry and echinacea tea, because it wards off all sorts of colds. But
I mean, I'll take that one because you do have to listen. I mean, some of it you'll know from doing it for so long. Some of it you go, oh, I'll give it a go, and then it doesn't work. But you will give anything a go, won't you, to keep that cold away?
Yeah, but there's nothing like a pan of tea, a good Welsh cup of tea.
A good Welsh cup of tea. I tell you what, that's what I need then this Christmas, a good Welsh cup of tea. Speaking of Panto, you've done so much over the years, and you've been involved in a wide variety of shows. I've been having a little look, as I say. Is there any one that you haven't done that you want to do yet from the Panto world? Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You've frozen a couple of times.
I froze. Oh, there, let me ask you again. Is there, you've done loads of Panto shows, as I can see from the past. Is there any that you want to do that you haven't had a chance to do yet? Any characters you want to play that you haven't had a chance to?
I would love to see some of the old stories come back, like Puss in Boots and Humpty Dumpty, and Mother Goose, of course. Mother Goose is a wonderful tale of morality, and that's not been done for many, many years. And so those, but I love Aladdin, and I love Jack and the Beanstalk, particularly the Dame characters in those shows, because they are lovely characters, you know. And the way I play Dame, I play it as a man in a frock, and you know, people say, oh, so you in lady, women wouldn't wear what I wear. My wife wouldn't wear, she wouldn't wear a flower pot or a teapot or a bumblebee dress, I can assure you. But I do like Dame Trot, and I do like Widow Twankey. They're good working class girls. Life has not been kind to them, and they're great characters to play.
Yeah, they are. I second that completely. Have you gone into the villain side of Dame yet? Have you been an ugly sister before?
I've been an ugly sister on a couple of occasions, and I've played it with some great people. My first time was with a lovely actor called Quentin Young. Quentin's a dear friend. Then I did it with lovely Frank Vickery. Mike Doyle and I played Ugly Sisters, and Kerry Dupree and I played Ugly Sisters. But this year we're doing Cinderella. I didn't want to be Ugly Sister. The company didn't want me to be an ugly sister, so they've created a role of Button's mother,
Right.
who's a bit of a housekeeper, and the role has been written, bless them, specifically for myself, and as well as the general script writer. There's somebody else who knows Swansea, who knows me, who's coming in to write up the Dame part as well. So that'll be, I'm looking forward to that. Very excited about that.
And actually, that is something completely different for the audience, because I mean, I've done a lot of, obviously, of looking into pantos with Panto Archive, bringing all the information to everyone else. I've never known a Button's mother before. How cool is that you get a new part as such in this old tradition?
Yeah, and I'm really quite. I do get excited, There's nothing like the day when the script comes, and there's nothing like first day of rehearsals, and because you're meeting people sometimes for the first time, sometimes you meeting old friends who you've known for many years. But when you open the script, I mean, the first thing you do when you open the script is totally ignore everybody else's role and just see how many lines and how many scenes and how many songs you've got, and that's what. And if anybody says they don't do that, they are lying to their teeth, because that's what everybody does. And then generally you see how you fit in to the other scenes, and because of course it's teamwork, and there's no I in team.
And then you go, and then you get into the rehearsal room and go, oh, I didn't know this bit was in it, because you hadn't read it, as you say.
No, I know. And that's happened on more than one occasion. And you say, what page are we on? Where's that from?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my mind is getting old.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. It is so exciting, isn't it? The first day of rehearsals, though, and having that opportunity to create something magical that is going to stay with people of all ages. I think that's what makes Panto so special. It's for everyone. Does it ever feel like a bit of pressure, especially when you've done it at the same venues a couple of times? Do you think you have to do it a little bit different, or, as you say, do you play it, this is who I am, and because that's what the audience is like?
I'm very blessed that audiences do like what I do, but it is important because Panto is not cheap. Tickets are not cheap, and people pay a lot of their hard-earned money to come and see a show. But there is nothing like being told that grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren, they all come to the show together. It's a family tradition. They can even tell you what show they come to, that they come on Christmas Eve, or they come on New Year's Eve, or they come on opening night, or they come on Boxing Day. And that's when the pressure is, because it's a very, very important trip for them, which holds lots and lots of memories. They can remember you doing this. They can remember others who came before you, and so it is. And when as you say, the tickets are not cheap now. And in anywhere, I mean, you look at some of the big city pantos, and you think, my goodness, that's a lot of money to pay. So you have to give value for money, and you have to give your best. And if anybody goes out there and walks it, then that really gets me angry, because pantomime, I guess there was a time where some serious people in the business, some serious actors would have, it would have turned their noses up a little bit. That's not the case anymore. In fact, my wife and I were having a conversation this morning about Ian McKellen doing pantomime now, in London on tour. And and I saw somebody on stage recently who I remember working with in Panto, and he's done really, really well. But that first day of rehearsals, the look on his face, I don't know, bless him. This is a new experience, but he loved it. But it's a massive fundraiser, money raiser for theatres, It's a chance to get people into the theatre who may not normally go to the theatre, and you hope that they'll enjoy the experience and pick up some leaflets on the way out. And you know, the reason we're talking about it now, this time of year, is because it's a multi-million-pound industry and very important to our industry in supporting. You know, the reason people can come. I've played a lot of comedy roles in Shakespeare, and that doesn't do the business that Panto does. But so we can do those plays and do those, you know, dramas. We need one-nighters, we need the bands, we need the tribute acts, we need every part of this business to keep it going.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you know, I think it proved during the lockdown as well, when the pantos disappeared, that the theatres then unfortunately did struggle. It is the backbone of a lot of theatres throughout the year. It brings so many special memories to the audiences as well, to us as performers. Yeah. What is the special thing about Panto for you? What is that little spark that every year you go, oh, go on then, I'll do one more year, apart from the money, obviously, but
I just think it's people's reaction. You know, I love it how dozens of people have said to me since last year, oh, I was there the night the toilet rolls in the 12 Days of Christmas went flying out into the audience. And I think, I'm going, oh, I remember that. We're inside. I'm thinking, yeah, I was there every night the toilet rolls went out into the audience. Yeah. And, you know, it's important things like that they remember little incidents, and they take them then as make them very, very personal. It was there the night I was there, as if it was done especially for me, you know. And as you know, people say, oh, you ad lib it really, and you go, oh yeah, well, everybody, you know, in this intense rehearsal period in Panto. You know, I've done a Panto in 5 days. You know, it's usually now, it's very rarely more than 10 days. And there's a day off in there as well. So people work very, very hard. They learn their scripts, and then they do the ad libs, then they do the improv, and which makes it a little bit special. Then, but you learn the book first, and but the fact that people remember those and think it was a special night for them, that's lovely, you know.
Yeah, it is. And as you say, you I think some people think that they, you know, we're all having a lovely time on stage, and they're having a lovely time. And I think sometimes some people think they're making it up. Clearly they're making it up, which actually, in a way, is a nice compliment, because you have put the work in. Yeah. You have, you know.
Yeah. And the glorious thing as well is that Panto, you'll find it in the Palladium, and I've only ever been once to the Palladium in Panto. We were on honeymoon, and it was Anna Dame Anna Neagle. It was one of the last shows she did. Des O'Connor, Paul Nicholas, Hope and Keane, you know, wonderful performers. And I remember that as a member of the audience. But you'll get them playing venues, Panto in venues like the Palladium, and then they'll be like Grimshaw Art Centre or Grimthorpe Art Centre, you know, with a capacity of 250, and to them, the audience there, the cast there, it's the Palladium. I know when I played the Grand Pavilion, Porthcawl, it wasn't the Swansea Grand, and it wasn't the New Theatre Cardiff, but it was a great Panto venue, and people loved it. He loved it, and I worked with some lovely people there in those years, and I learnt my craft. I learnt my trade from a wonderful man called Norman Robbins, who's sadly no longer with us, who'd worked with Morecambe and Wise in Panto, written books about Panto, written dozens of scripts, but he taught me how to be a Panto comic.
And it is those tricks of the trade that, you know, tricks from the past, tips that actually we all use today, and people still enjoy it. But it has to, you have to take that sort of credit back to those people, don't you? You know, the people from the past.
I love the stories. I used to love sitting. There's not a lot to do in Porthcawl in the winter, so you know, we would do the matinee, and maybe we'd nip to the shop, or there was a cafe there where they would cook food for us, and we'd all sit together and listen to Norman's stories. And then after years of working with people like John Chalice and Dora Bryan, I noticed I became the storyteller. And some, you know, I thought, when did I go from the listener to the teller?
Yeah.
And it's lovely then to pass on those great stories of great people who were huge celebrities,
Yeah.
and to pass those stories on, you know, to talk about Sid and Eddie and lovely blessed Ruth Maddock, and to share those wonderful stories with today's younger generation. I did a show the other day with a group called West End Welsh, and there's a girl in there, fabulously talented entertainer who's done West End shows, called Samantha Thomas, and Samantha played Tinkerbell in one of our Peter Pans. And you know, and to tell that generation, they listen to them, you know, they're not cocky, you know, they've got great training, they're incredibly talented, but they love to hear the stories. Well, I'm going to tell them anyway, they got no choice.
You're going to say regardless, but you know, and that's why that's why I'm so passionate about the Panto archive. We have to keep the history still in people's mind. We have to tell these stories. Is why we're doing the Cuppa chats for, because we're going to lose them. You know, we're going to lose this wealth of knowledge that you've gained, other generations have gained, and we don't want that to go. I think it's so important to keep that alive now as such. We have almost come to the end of our Cuppa chat, Kev. It's flew by, hasn't it? It's absolutely flew by. I've really enjoyed it. I'd love to have you to come back again another time to speak to us again.
Would love to.
Just before you go, though, I must ask you this, because I'm asking everyone. If you could have anyone perform with you on stage in a panto from past or present, who would it be and why? And it doesn't mean you have to work with them before. It could be anyone, obviously.
I would love to see Jimmy Osmond back on stage and back in panto. Jimmy became a great friend of ours, and I love him the bit. So I would love to see him back in panto. You know, after a period of ill health, I would love to see him return to the stage with us in Swansea. But I would love to see Michael Sheen play the baddie.
Yes.
He's a local boy, Patalba boy, and I'd love to see Michael, you know, with his long hair and his beard, and he always has a pretty girlfriend, so you could bring her as well. But,
Kev, you could make it happen. You've got contact, surely.
I love words. I know his mum and dad.
Oh, there you go then. Come on.
I'll be on the phone to Wiley and say, get the boy in panto.
You've got a Panto archive exclusive here. Kev's going to make it happen.
That would be fantastic. But I just love working with people who love the genre, take panto seriously, and give their best for the incredible people. Swansea Grand has had panto, a tradition of doing panto, and last year we won the Best Pantomime Award, which was for us an incredible thrill. And but that's gone now. That was last year, so we work on making this year even bigger and even better than last year.
Yeah, wonderful. What and I think that is what every company in the country is trying to do, is just to entertain, make people smile, forget about the worries of everyday life, and come on down to the theatre. Bring your family, bring your children, your grandparents. It is for everyone, isn't it, Kev?
Yeah, and you're doing a great job. Little events like this and the social media stuff, keep that panto tradition alive throughout the year, and that's fantastic, you know, because we want people to buy tickets in advance so that the theatre is relaxed and know it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, and the thing is, Kev, as well, I know you headline, obviously, Swansea's, and you have some wonderful guests, but as you just alluded to, there is some people that are as talented, who are fantastic, who are not necessarily on the posters, but they may be in the ensemble, the dancers. They're brilliant, aren't they? So it's not just who's on that poster, is it, that makes the shows?
The hardest working people in our industry, not just in panto, are what they call the ensemble, the dancers. They are incredible. They're there early in the morning to do their warm-ups, and because they sometimes have to rehearse with the junior ensemble, they're there when the rest of us have gone home. They are incredible, and I have massive respect for every single one of them. And you often find the most talented people in the panto are the ones not on the poster.
Yeah.
And I love them and I respect them, and I'm very grateful for them.
Yeah. Kev, thank you so much for speaking to us today. We'd love to have you back again another time. And where you just remind us one more time what you're doing this Christmas?
Swansea Grand Cinderella.
Cinderella. And it's Button's mum, you said, didn't you?
Button's mother. We haven't decided on a character name yet. We're working on it.
Wonderful. Kev, thank you so much. And if you want to see anything else, there is a fantastic page actually on the Panto Archive, all about Swansea Grand on there. So have a look through. You can see all the vast history that venue has had. Go onto the Panto Archive now. See you later, Kev.
You're very God bless. Bye.